Hey you, hi. So I wanted to get on here and actually show y'all with objects how we live in a 7C water cycle. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down. I actually do have my notes because I do not want to be losing my train of thoughts or going on and on. Boy, Miss Moon right now is a tutorial. Okay, so we're all in the spirit and energy of just having the sitting bull, whatever foundation, as far as your safety, security, shelter, stability, and support that you have founded yourself on, it should be real sturdy. Okay, if you think for a second right now to go back and start loosening the screws and tightening, you on the wrong spectrum of the universe. You should be sitting your ass down like a sitting bull. Okay, you should be practicalizing, making sense out of your logic, whatever it is that you have been doing as far as building the foundation for inheritance, money, treasures, trust funds, in God we trust, all that is Tatars, the bull-like energy. And if you see a Tatars today, just greet them. They might be a little stubborn, a little stuck, a little standoffish, because they're in their own world. All of us is in our own world. We get that. But if you see a Tatars today, just say, hey. So breaking down the 7C water cycle is going to allow you to see how we as spirits in the mind create the mustard seeds and the flowers that bloom and everything that you see as far as within nature. And you have to be the observer and go outside and see God's knowledge for yourself and realize that the sperma seeds, we don't even see these seeds, but the sun is producing seeds and doing its thing. Like, you don't have to go outside and plant a lemon tree, plant an orange tree. Like, all these things got pushed and derived out of this big body of water that we live in. And this is how I know for a fact we do not live in a rock, because I have plenty of rocks in my home, okay? I don't know if y'all have ever seen my home, but I got a couple rocks. My children have pet rocks, and we've never seen water do anything with it. We even put it in water. Water does nothing with it. But I can tell you for a fact, I also planted plants in just water with no soil, and I see what get pushed and derived and shaped and developed out of this water. So just imagine when you go outside and see nature like with no indoctrination. So I actually went outside to go study this for myself, and I've been in my own little space doing observation. And to be honest with you, this is actually one plant. But this is the woman. You can obviously see that she's a woman because she's real curvy. And the one right here is her husband. This is her husband. Straight pins, okay? And when I separate them, the husband gets pretty sad because I see sometimes, all the time, quite often, he give me yellow flowers, like sick plants. He give me sick ones and dead ones, and he catches attitudes. Okay, so let me begin. Now, our ability to think, okay, that's the atmosphere. When it interact with the as above, so below, the whole little reality we created as teamwork makes the dream work, and produce and bind, that fusion produces an emanation, okay? Based upon how we're rotating to the left and interacting with that atmosphere, that fusion, friction, and pressure, it interact in different ways, right? So it produces different emanations, right? Now, the emanation is what I'm saying, but I'm talking about the sun, okay? And those sperma seeds produce different results as far as seasons. And when we get into these seeds, 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 sea, seasons, season, right? We see nature grow from that production. You know that we have a different sun in Aries, which is the beginning of spring, than we have in Scorpio sun, right? Now, the cool part about me mentioning Aries and Scorpio is Mars rule both of these signs. So the Martian sign, Mars, rule daytime Aries, nighttime Scorpio. So when our big body of water is interacting with that big body of water, right, that emanation, the sun, we see what gets produced and developed from out of that season, season. And when you go outside and see I often say God's nature, God's knowledge for yourself, you see that we get new bugs, new bacteria, new butterflies. We see what gets produced from that production. We get the birth of something new. They even call that time of the season spring, right? And when we see Mars, Scorpio, sun, nighttime, lower, below the horizon, right? We see the production from that, and we see the falls of things. Remind you, Scorpio is fixed fall season, right? And when it's in Aries, it's cardinal fire, right? So it's an initiating an imagination, creativity. Aries themselves, they play out the energies that want to be individuals, thinking, they nonchalant, they got it all, I'm the first, I'm the this, And then when we see Scorpio, we see occult witchcraft, taboo, mysticism, sex. Sex is just a joining two energies to create another one. Anyways, we see the production that gets emitted far as when we're in these different seasons. Aries sun is different from Gemini sun. Gemini sun is different from Leo sun. Leo sun is different than Capricorn sun. Capricorn sun is totally different from Sagittarius sun. So if we see the sun being a binding system of two atmospheres, then that means that we're witnessing, as far as the collection, two atmospheres interacting with each other, correct? Okay. Now I want you to notice, for the most part, okay, based on the atmosphere that you are in, rotating to the left, Mr. Sun is not moving. We're the ones rotating to the left. Rotating to the left, you get a phase of what we call Miss Moon. But Miss Moon is just okay, so they say Miss Moon is a reflection of the big body of water that we are all in. This is how I know for a fact no one ever landed on the moon. When you go outside and see God's knowledge for yourself and you look at the moon, you can also see the crescent dents within the moon, only showing you that this big body of water, based on water being played out differently in different atmospheres, we see when we go into different locations, geographically speaking, we see waterfalls and rivers and dried up lands and XYZ. So we know Miss Moon is just a reflection of the big body of water that we live in. We all know this, okay? So we know lighter and heavier interacting with each other create fusion, friction, and pressure. And based on that, it creates an emanation. Mr. Sun is always getting produced the same way it gets produced, okay? But I need y'all to understand this, okay? Now, since we stay in a 7-layer... Okay, so we got like a 7-layer of atmospheres, right? Every time we rotate to the left, we produce a different distance. So we have 7 different distances as well, okay? Now, I want y'all to notice, okay? Where the 7 different distances are at, we have different positions. One's above the horizons and one's below the horizons, okay? So when we're rotating to the left, we get spring and summer, right? The planet, houses, the house rulers and all that. Then below the horizon, when they're on their nighttime. So every time we rotate to the left, we interact with a different part of the atmosphere on the cycle that we're next to. We produce that sun, that binding at that distance and that position. We all do that as spirits in the mind, okay? And I say that because, like I said in my previous video, they're calling these planets, but they're not planets. They're actually water cycles. And we know that since we got 7 of them, right, we know that there's a day and night ruler for both. For one planet rules a day and night ruler. We know this, except for sun and moon, right? So Mercury, daytime, Gemini, nighttime, Virgo. Taurus. Well, I should have said Mars, daytime, Aries, nighttime, Scorpio. I already said Mercury. Venus, daytime, Taurus, nighttime, Libra. Then we got, I already said Mercury. Then we got Saturn, Capricorn, nighttime, daytime, Aquarius, co-ruler, okay? Then we know Mr. Sun rules Leo, Miss Moon rules Cancer, right? So I just explained to y'all the 7 different distances, the different positions, and just God's knowledge. When you go outside in these different seeds, you see what gets produced out of these seeds, okay? I'm a Scorpio sun sign, so look at what I'm in. I'm in the dark. I'm behind closed doors. I'm in taboo. I'm wearing black. What it sounds like, y'all can look at it like it's pseudo, but, I'm sure y'all probably looking at it like, oh, she's talking about occult and witchcraft and astrology and just things that people are not accustomed to. You may run into an Aries and they just may want to be an individual, they don't care. And know this, okay? Earth got shaped and molded out of water. Water didn't land on Earth. And if water did land on Earth, how did water get through the Kuiper Belt that NASA keep talking about? Okay. I gave you a few seconds. Okay. We see in California in different geographical locations, we got water based on the cycle, the current, the waves, the fusion, the friction, the way it's interacting with another body of water next to it. We get earthquakes. You get rain showers and rainstorms based on what? Fusion, friction, and pressure. And when it gets too heavy or light, we see what gets produced out of it. We know a rainbow is not showing you that we live in a firmament. We live in a big body of water, and when water gets trapped in light, it produces that rainbow. That's it. And based on the rainbow, you get to see, but you have to realize this, what you are receiving, that everything appears to be something, okay, but it's not that. So because you know your pupil and your eyes and how it dilates and stuff is in a circle, everything externally appears to be that way. Okay, we live in a water cycle. Mr. Sun and Miss Moon appears to be a circle because they're taking shape or form of the heavier object, they're lighter. They're taking shape or form of the heavier object where south is at, where everything condensed at, and they appear to be round. All of this appears to be this way. You know this. You know your spirit. You know this. Your spirit know this, okay? But let me continue. Remember what I told y'all about the compass, okay? Okay. So I wish I had my flashlight because I could have showed y'all with observation how the phases of Miss Moon goes about her thing. But when we talk about an eclipse and stuff like that, an eclipse itself is just a term that they're using when they're making an allegory to objects like pennies and having something go in front of something else because of observation. But it's not saying that that's what these things actually are. It's like really what it is, okay? So Miss Moon is not a reflection. Okay, so it's a reflection based upon it being when you can see it. When you're facing the event, there is no reflection, okay? We know this. That's why they call it a new moon. There is no moon. There is nothing in front of the sun. The sun, the way it gets produced, is getting produced the way it's always getting produced. We're just facing that event, so we can't see it. So it's almost like when you go outside on a real, real hot spring or summer day and you call yourself want to go sun gaze, you know for a fact your eyes automatically start to shut. Say, for instance, somebody come inside of your dark room, right? And they turn the light on. You shut your eyes, right? So imagine facing something so bright. Because you're facing it, you don't see it because it's nothing there. It's nothing there. So when they say that Miss Moon is new, there's no moon. So when the eclipse start to happen, it's only something that they're saying as far as a term, but we as spirits do this ourselves. You know that as a spirit, it's time for you to clip something off. So whatever it is, as far as a habit, a routine, something you ain't like about yourself, a distaste, you're supposed to let that go with that water cycle. So every day you get up, it's an uphill battle. Why? Because you got to psych yourself up to believe that whatever it is, as far as the thoughts and feelings that you poured into that eclipse, or that object, that material, that crystal, that gem, that water cycle, that penny, that nickel, that dime, that dollar bill, it is. Don't make it complicated. Anything that's complicated is the devil. If you got to go further into detail, it's demonic. God said make it simple first and then go deep. And it's hearing it from a Scorpio, it's like I ain't got no other choice. Because the minute I fall into going into depth with something, goddamn it, can you get me back up to the surface? I don't think so. But shout out to my Virgo moon. She's very practical. But anyways, let's get back to the story. Okay, so we back to the compass, okay? So look at it like this. When we're rotating to the left, all the 5 C's, right, together, we rotate to the left, we got 5 C's, right? So when we're rotating to the left, all the 5 C's together, north go west, south go east. Since land got shaped and molded out of water, water didn't land on earth. This will make east-west, left to right, and have the equinox, spring and winter solstice be equal. So that's exactly why. You know this. You have to know this. North is evaporation, south is condensing. Everything that's what you see when you go outside is condensing based on the evaporation of what's happening as above. So the waters above interact with the waters below. You got to know this because man created all these other things based on Saturn, the sun, and what it's doing, okay? And us living in this Saturn heliocentric model thing, but it's not really a model thing. It's just what they're using as far as their practices to have y'all practice what they got is like, what it's like to have safety, security, shelter, stability, and support, build structure, melt metals, all that stuff. But If man never flattened the earth and built roads and highways and freeways and stuff, this would have been one big ass motherfucking hill all the way to the clouds. We probably would have been in the sky right now. Then you probably been saying you seen a man come out the sky. Probably would have been named Jesus, but none of that is real. We know this. So I find all of this to be very much is what it is, simply because I know where I came from, so I know where I'm going. Man can't convince me otherwise. It is what it is. But I just thought it'd be great to break down this 5C water cycle that we all live in, where we could see evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. And when you go outside and see God's knowledge for yourself, you see what gets derived, shaped, and molded out of based on seasons, based on time zone, what gets molded, shaped, and derived out of it. You know we got panda bears. We got bears. We got different type of bears, though. That's all that matters. We got panda bears, grizzly bears, polar bears, brown bear, black bear. Like God showed you, you can go outside and see for yourself that there's no thunderstorm happening in the sky that's having your hair go in that spiral, or your fingerprint go in that spiral, or when you chop a tree down, go in that spiral, or anything for that matter, in that spiral. When you go outside, you see that based on the different atmospheres, clouds, and what Mr. Sun is doing. Because on a macro large scale, Mr. Sun is pushing out the clouds, okay? And you see this happening when you go outside in your geographical location. So when you look up, you see different layers, and you can see one rotation going this way, right? The next rotation going this way, left. And based on distant fusion friction, this is why man keep up with time. Our body of water, it takes 24 hours for us to go around the sun. Who's to say that's happening to Mars, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune? And Pluto. Who's to say that? And that's why it takes I think it takes Mars like 18 days, Venus like a month and a half. Like based on distance, based on timing, man keeping track of time. This is what we think we seeing when you look up twinkle stars. Those are satellites keeping track of water cycles. And when you see shooting stars and stuff, that's just them things coming down. Like you got GPS and all these other stuff where you can have Wi-Fi and technology and express direct and all this extra stuff based on what they're throwing up in this water cycle. You know that they having a chemtrail going on in your city and hometown simply because that's something that they produce to clean the water cycle. And we can't get out of this big body of water. They created an astronaut to think that they can go somewhere out of here, and you ain't going nowhere out of here, because the minute you think you're going somewhere, you coming right back here. Unless you're going to die. Your body was not developed to deal with that type of current. Even if you go into the bottom pits of the ocean, the same thing that you see pushing up on shore is what's at the bottom of the ocean. It's crystallizing, okay? And you see it. You get all these particles and minerals and sodiums and everything on the periodic table based on the atmosphere that you're in. You live in a 7C water cycle. God has shown you this for yourself. I'm just saying. But thank y'all so much for listening to this video. If you enjoyed it, come back. I'll see y'all soon. Hopefully I get a flashlight and then I can show y'all how Miss Moon is a reflection, but she's not a reflection. We're the ones giving her what it is. Well, Mr. Sun is doing it too. Mr. Sun is the reason why she has that light being seen, but she's only reflecting the atmosphere as far as the heavy density of the environment she's in. And she ain't even in it. Right. Turn your back to the sun. 180 degrees away. Turn your eyes to the sun. Well, did you do it? Did you go and face the sun? Did your eyes close? It's like, looking at it like it's too bright, right? And did you turn your back to the sun? When you turned your back to the sun, you was able to see the sun, right? Yeah. So all of us on a big body of water, we know when we're facing that event, that emanation that's going on the east, we don't see a reflection. There's nothing there. It's just a big body of water interacting with our atmosphere. While we're rotating to the left, Mr. Sun is always getting produced the same way it's getting produced. Miss Moon is just a reflection. So she's reflecting our body of water based on the emanation on the east. you know that you live in a water cycle, and based on evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, you got areas that's wet, dry, frozen, humid. All sound like water to me. You should meet a Taurus. You ever met a Taurus? You ever met one? Yeah. Taurus, I tell them all the time, they actually rule Gaia, terra firma, this body of water that all of us as spirits get brought here. You know, they be like, oh, I'm going to life on Mars. Really? Where you going? You're not going nowhere. Like, what? I mean, but you can use your imagination. You can close your eyes. You can fly. You can astral travel. You can do all kind of stuff. As far as your spirit being no thing, odorless, shapeless, formless, non-flammable gas. You ever thought about somebody and then they called you? You don't think both of y'all was on the same geographical location in the esoteric realm? Everything is metaphysical before it becomes physical and comes down here into this realm reality with density, shape, and form. But things get materialized because man just wanted to do so. I'm just saying. Hopefully this video was helpful. And I'm just doing God. God told me to get the hell out of there. Just got my ass up. Have a great day, okay? Later.